some patient comes to me, sir, वो green नस दिख रही है, but वो मेरा skin fair है इसके लिए होता है. That is not like that. It's a sign that you are suffering from varicose veins.
Parkinson's only affects movement.
So not just movement, Parkinson's affects behavior. It affects your gut in forms of constipation.
Anything related to diabetic foot is 90% related to lack of blood supply.
Understood. Okay. And solvable.
Yes, it is salvageable.
Memory loss begins at 60.
Myth.
Earlier, later?
Begins much earlier.
Really?
Yeah.
What age should I start worrying? Hi, I'm Jagu, and welcome to a new episode of the Good Doctors podcast by Zainova Shalby Hospital. Neurological symptoms are often subtle. A headache, a tremor, a moment of forgetfulness, things we usually brush off. This episode is about understanding what those signals can actually mean. I'm joined by Dr. Dharmik Bhuva, consultant vascular and neurointerventional radiologist at Zainova Shalby Hospital, and Dr. Natasha Tipnis, consultant neurologist at Zainova Shalby Hospital, to unpack how the brain and blood vessels communicate distress, how imaging guides life-saving decisions, and how early action can completely change outcomes from stroke recovery to everyday vascular conditions. It's a conversation about clarity, knowing when something is minor and when it isn't. Let's get into it. Dr. Dharmik, Dr. Natasha, thank you so much for being on the Good Doctors podcast, and it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Now, we're going to discuss the heads. So we have a neurologist, we have a radiologist, and we're hoping to be enlightened by the end of this episode from everything that you all will be teaching us and talking to us about. Let me start with the basics. A patient walks in and says, I have a headache. What are the first 3 or 4 red flags that you would look for to know that, okay, this is a headache, a pill will resolve, or this is a bigger deal than we're seeing up front?
Right. So I think number 1 on the list is the first headache of your life. If you're someone who's never had a headache, and then suddenly one fine day, oh my God, my head is splitting, I don't know what to do. That would be the number 1 red flag.
Okay.
Followed closely by visual disturbances. So what do I mean by visual disturbances? It means either you can't focus properly, or everything that you see is a blur, or you're seeing double when you look straight, or when you look to the right, or when you look to the left, or sometimes in more than one direction. So that would be the second red flag for me. And the third red flag would be if you're consistently vomiting.
Oh.
Along with the headache. If you're consistently vomiting and it just wouldn't stop. I would just like to add a 4th here because it's equally important. And that is if one of your limbs doesn't feel quite okay, or you feel as if you can't move either of your limbs.
This is like
either
a
of your
stroke
hand.
type situation, or are we talking a completely different thing?
Sometimes strokes can present with a headache
Okay.
if they are strokes which are hemorrhagic strokes, which means a stroke because of bleeding in the brain.
I see. Okay.
So yes, so an equally important 4th point would be if your right or left hand or leg isn't working as well as it would. So these are your major red flags. Of course, there are others, but these are your major red flags.
So in light of that, Dr. Dharmik, what Dr. Natasha just said, a serious neurological condition is suspected. How early does imaging come into play? And how often does that completely change the diagnosis?
See, like Dr. Natasha told, any patient which has first headache or worst headache in her life should be suspected to either CT scan or MRI.
Okay.
To rule out subarachnoid hemorrhage.
Okay.
Which is a bleeding in a covering of the brain, which is the outer covering of the brain, where most likely will come to the diagnosis why the patient is having worst headache of his life.
Okay.
Sometimes headache lasting for 2 to 3 weeks. Patient will have sinusitis, so we need to do CTPNS, paranasal sinus scan. And sometimes, like Dr. Natasha told, patient with hemorrhagic infarct, like stroke with hemorrhage, either venous or arterial.
So what is that? That is a bleeding in parts
within
of
the
the brain.
stroke, yeah.
Okay.
And a part of the brain bleeding. Stroke is of 2 types, hemorrhagic, non-hemorrhagic.
Okay.
Hemorrhagic stroke, where there is bleed inside the infarcted area or stroke area,
Okay.
which is detected only on CT or MRI.
I see. Okay. Fair enough. Now, if someone is having a stroke, getting into the hospital is one thing. But how does a bystander identify a stroke?
So
What should
we've-
he do?
So we've got like a really cool mnemonic for this, and it's called Be Fast.
Okay.
I say it's cool because it tells you what you're supposed to look for,
Hmm.
and at the same time, it's also giving you a subtle signal: be fast.
Fair.
Right? So B here is for balance,
Hmm.
which means you see someone who's not walking properly
Hmm.
or is unable to balance his or her body,
Hmm.
moving to one side
Hmm.
while walking. E is for eyes.
Okay.
So you see that there is something wrong with the eyes. Now, how do you know something is wrong with the other person's eyes, right? We spoke
Yeah.
about eyesight and I know something is wrong. But if I'm
Yes.
looking at you, how do I know something is wrong?
You mentioned the focus thing. That's where you're going.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. But if I am looking at you, how do
Yeah.
I know something is wrong with your eyes?
Fair. I
So
wouldn't.
eyes here means that, see, usually when you're looking at me, both of your pupils,
Hmm.
that's the center part of the eye,
Hmm.
is in the center.
Hmm.
And if you look here or you look there, they move.
Hmm.
But if you're looking at me and your eyes are just looking here
Oh.
and they are not moving
Okay.
in the other direction at all,
Okay.
even if I am asking you to move them,
I see.
then that becomes an eye which is deviated
Okay.
in one direction and not moving.
Got it.
So that's the E.
Okay.
Okay. Then you have the rest of the mnemonic, which is FAST.
Yes.
So F is for face.
Okay.
So if your face looks asymmetric,
Hmm.
so our faces are usually really symmetric, right?
Hmm.
You've got one side of the face, other side looks the same.
Hmm.
If you see one side of the face which looks different,
Hmm.
you've got an angle of the mouth which is going down.
I see.
You've got this fold which disappears from one side.
Huh.
You've got an eye that's not closing properly. So an asymmetric face
Okay.
forms the F.
Okay.
Now we come to the A,
Yes.
right? The A is for arm,
Okay.
and you have weakness in either arm.
Okay.
So a very easy way to do this is you ask the patient to lift up both the arms. Someone has a stroke, one of the arms will go like this,
I see.
right?
There will be a
that's the
physical
A.
dropping.
That's actually a drop. You can't
Okay.
hold it up.
Okay.
Or you can't move the arm at all. I would
Oh.
say, please move this. Please move this. Not moving.
Okay.
So that's the A. The S is for speech. When you have a lot of slurring in your speech,
Understood.
or you can't talk at all. I'm asking you something and you're
Hmm.
not able to talk at all. So
Yeah.
that's the S.
Okay.
Okay, so we are through with the B, the E, F, A, and S. And
Okay.
what does
S is slurring or
Speech.
no speech.
speech?
Okay.
So S is for
Okay.
speech, either slurring or no speech.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So the S is for the speech, anything wrong with the speech. And then we come to the last,
Hmm.
which is T. And T is for time. So if a
Oh.
person has either of B, E, F, A, S,
Huh.
and it's time to go to the hospital.
Clock is ticking.
Yes.
Okay. So we're talking balance, arms.
No, you forgot the E, which is eyes.
Oh, balance, eyes.
Yes.
Fast is face,
Face.
arms.
Yes.
S is your speech. And any one of those factors are coming into play,
The clock
your
is
clock
ticking.
is ticking.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. No, I'm this makes, for a layperson, I can connect with this instantly.
Yeah.
Then I don't have to think medically. I can just look for
Absolutely.
symptoms.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Or if you have someone at home or someone in the office
Hmm.
who's suddenly become unconscious. I mean, the guy was here
Okay.
and I was talking to him, and then suddenly, hello, not responsive.
Yeah.
Of course, you're supposed to call an ambulance, but sometimes, very rarely, stroke also does present like this. When you
Oh.
suddenly lose consciousness.
Okay.
It could be multiple reasons,
Okay.
but a person's lost consciousness, you check the pulse,
Hmm.
pulse is running.
Hmm.
You check if you have a stethoscope around and you check for the heartbeat, and the heartbeat is fine. Check the person's breathing. Yes, person's breathing, not waking up. That could also be stroke.
I see.
But
Okay.
the Be Fast mnemonic is for someone who's okay. You see the person is sick,
Hmm.
but somebody who you can examine.
Hmm.
And that's why these examination points are something that anybody can do. I mean,
Fair,
anybody can
yes.
check for balance, look if the eyes are okay, look for
Absolutely.
symmetry in the face,
Absolutely.
see if the arm's fine, and talk to the patient and analyze speech.
Okay, fair enough. No, that absolutely helps from a layperson's point
Yeah.
of view. I completely get that. So, under these circumstances, Dr. Dharmik, we've got a situation, we've worked on the Be Fast formula, we know that there is a problem.
Yeah.
A patient is coming to the hospital, you know there is a neurological issue. What is the first thing that you would scan for? What is the first thing that you would do just literally to get the process moving as fast as
So
possible?
depending upon the availability,
Hmm.
the gold standard investigation of choice is MRI, but
Okay.
diffusion perfusion imaging.
Okay.
So it will tell you how much damage has been occurred to a particular area of the brain
I see.
and how much the area of the brain can be salvageable
Hmm,
by
hmm,
doing an
hmm.
intervention, by removing the clot.
Okay.
So ideally MRI, but sometimes some hospital don't have the facility of MRI.
Hmm.
So CT scan with
Okay.
CT angiography is a good diagnostic technique.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. So we have a diagnosis, we have the scan where suspecting a stroke, or it's pretty much saying so on the scan. Now what?
So, as I said, the time,
Hmm.
like the time is the most important factor here.
Hmm.
And you might as well say time is brain.
Okay.
And a very interesting thing about the brain is that it has the least regenerative capacity of all of your organs.
Is that right?
So, if you get hurt, for example,
Hmm.
and you'll have some bleeding
Hmm.
and then a scar,
Hmm.
and then sometime the scar will heal.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
But the brain, once a neuron is lost, the only thing that can happen is some other neurons which are around that neuron could take up responsibility of that neuron. Sort of something that happens at home. If you
Sure.
lose a family member, somebody else steps up. But that's about it.
Is it a valid question to ask that? And right now I have an image in my head, so bear
Yeah.
with me. A neuron taking over the responsibility of another neuron, do they take it over completely or?
No.
Ah.
So that's what I'm getting at. That
Okay.
this is the maximum that can happen.
Okay.
But once you lose brain tissue, you've pretty much lost it forever. So,
I
which
see.
is why time is of the essence.
Hmm.
And what happens is that as doctors, as neurologists, as radiologists, honestly, diagnosing stroke is the least of our worries with all the latest technology that we have, with our MRI scans, with our CT scans. Fabulous. So, diagnosing stroke, if you have a good MRI scan, diagnosing stroke is the least of your worries.
Okay.
The worries begin after that.
Okay.
And one of the most important worries is the urgency of time.
Sure.
So, see, for example, you're a patient, okay, and you've come to a hospital. You've been brought by your family, and your family noticed the signs of Be Fast and they got you onto the hospital. And then you meet me. I mean, the family meets me. And I say, okay, so Mr. So-and-so has a stroke and we need to act fast. We need to act fast. This urgency is often misinterpreted by the family members into thinking that the hospital is planning something sinister for us.
No, but there is a timeline to how the
Yeah,
quicker you treat
exactly.
a stroke.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So I think the one important point that both I and he want to get across to the patients is the reason we are hurrying up, the reason we are pushing you is that we have a clock ticking.
Fair.
And the earlier we intervene, the better the results are going to be for you. And
Okay.
when I say earlier, I mean it's a matter of minutes.
Oh. Okay.
Even if something is done, say 30 minutes earlier, it would be better than doing it 30 minutes later.
Because brain tissue is being lost as we speak.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So once we have diagnosed a patient, then as I said, our number one problem is sort of getting everything together and ensuring that everybody agrees to go ahead with the treatment. Now, the treatment comes in two formats. Number one is the medical management.
Okay.
So the first is medical management,
Okay.
where you have certain strokes which are ischemic strokes. Now, when I say ischemic, I mean that the blood supply to a certain area of the brain has been cut off.
I see. Okay.
Okay. And because of that, the patient has had a stroke. Since the blood supply got cut off, the neurons in that area cannot function anymore. And essentially, if you let them be, they die.
Okay.
So how do you restore the blood supply to an area, the blood supply of which has been cut off? So number one is medical management. Medical management usually needs to be done within the first 4.5 hours of onset of stroke.
Oh,
Now, do you realize the urgency? Because-
I could have taken a couple of hours just to get to the hospital.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, the onset of stroke, say the onset of symptoms, the time when the patient developed the symptom is 12 a.m.
Okay.
I have only until,
4:30 a.m. Wow.
and that's how fast it is. So, in a city like Mumbai, add transport, add all the confusion that it creates in a family to get a patient to the hospital.
I'm also not going to be able to diagnose it immediately, right?
Right.
Family members would have their own thought process about what is this, or
Absolutely.
starting from indigestion onwards.
Correct.
Okay.
So just imagine by the time that you're in the hospital, from my experience, majority patients, an hour or two has already passed.
Fair.
Okay. And another, say 30, 40 minutes are spent trying to get the scan done.
Sure.
Because I'm not going to do anything to the patient unless the scan is done.
Absolutely.
Right. And then you have got certain other factors to consider, the most important of which being the blood pressure of the patient. Whether it is high, whether it's low, whether the patient has a high blood sugar, low blood sugar, so on and so forth. But
Plus
those are technical
comorbidities,
things.
I would assume, play a part.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So hypertension, diabetes, as I mentioned. So by the time all this is done, we are already at 3 hours. And then you're wondering, why is Dr. Natasha rushing us?
Yeah.
कहीं इसमें उनका कोई फायदा तो नहीं.
You do that very well.
So like फायदा तो है, but जितना मेरा है उतना आपका है.
बिल्कुल.
क्योंकि अगर पेशेंट ठीक हो जाता है तो जितने खुश आप है उतने खुश हम भी है.
बिल्कुल.
एंड जो जब करना है वो तब करना है.
बिल्कुल.
So I think I really want everyone to understand that when a patient has had a stroke, just run.
Yeah.
Because every minute that you save is brain tissue being saved.
And even if you're in doubt, getting a medical professional opinion versus just making an assumption is probably not the right thing. Get the opinion. How does it matter?
So not just the opinion, here I'd also like to make another very pertinent point. So what happens is when a patient has a stroke, the first instinct is to call the family doctor. Now, while I have great respect for every general practitioner on the face of this earth, it just adds more confusion, and most importantly, the clock ticks even worse. So my suggestion is, if you have understood what Be Fast means, if there is a suspicion of a patient having had a stroke, just run to the nearest multi-speciality or equipped hospital where you have a neurologist, an MRI imaging, and an interventional neurologist available in the same place.
Understood.
So that really changes the game.
So you made a mention of medical management.
Yes.
Was there another factor that you were also coming to?
Absolutely. So which is why I also mentioned interventional radiologist.
Okay.
Right? So, or interventional neurologist for the case of a stroke. So what happens is, those 4.5 hours, you can give a medication that acts as a clot burster,
Okay.
for the want of a better word.
Okay.
So it will go in to your blood and make your blood really thin. And if there are any clots that have formed, it will go and burst them.
Okay.
That's what it does.
And so therefore blood flow can start
So
again.
therefore, blood flow can start again.
Okay.
Now, while this is very useful for smaller arteries, if you have like a big artery which is occluded, अब ये बेचारा सा इंजेक्शन उतना ही कर सकता है.
Okay.
So beyond a point, this cannot work.
Okay.
Or even if it works partially.
I see.
And there is where my interventional radiologist and interventional neurologist friends come into the picture.
Okay.
So everyone knows about cardiac angioplasty and
Yes.
angiography.
Yes.
है ना, ये मतलब सबके लिए, अगर कोई बोलता है कि एंजियोग्राफी करवा लिया, एंजियोप्लास्टी करवा लिया, तो सब ये सोचते हैं कि ये दिल से रिलेटेड ही है.
बिल्कुल.
But there are two things which people need to understand. First of all, the word angiography or angioplasty means, angio means like a vessel. So any vessel in the body. किसी का भी आप एंजियोग्राफी कर सकते हो,
Not
मतलब
just
उसे देख
related
सकते
to
हो.
the heart.
हाँ
Or,
जी.
okay.
So similarly, you can do angiography for the brain,
I see.
right?
Okay.
And you can perform an angioplasty on the vessels in the brain.
Okay.
And the logic remains the same. Since everyone's so aware of cardiac procedures, which is why the logic is the same. You get in, you get the clot out, you restore blood flow.
Okay.
And this can be done for a longer period.
as in you can take more time to get this to this
Absolutely.
point of surgery.
Absolutely. So I think it's very important for people to understand that these services are available
Hmm.
and that if they reach the right place with the
Hmm.
right doctor,
Hmm.
they have a better chance
Hmm.
at getting better from the stroke.
But so then, Dr. Dharmik, let me come to you with this, like from the radiology perspective, also from the neurology perspective. These surgeries, once we go into, and I realize because of the time factor, these decisions are being made in a rush. Aren't they expensive?
Yeah. So
They might be minimally invasive.
Yeah.
But which is a good thing, but that should also help with the cost. But sometimes
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like
yeah.
that.
So the thing is that Dr. Natasha has already discussed, whenever a patient with stroke comes, so there are two types of strokes, hemorrhagic and non-hemorrhagic, that is ischemic stroke. Strokes occur in two parts of the brain, either anterior circulation or posterior circulation. In layman, we can say bada brain or chota brain.
Okay.
At that point of time, if the stroke is in anterior circulation, आगे बड़ा brain में, so the thing is that there is less window period. That is called golden period. So
Okay.
it is approximately 6 to 8 hours. So where
From the onset of stroke.
yeah, from the onset of the stroke. So
Okay.
once we detect the stroke, it is not licensed by the medical management. We call either intervention neurologist or radiologist, and we intervene.
Okay.
So golden period is we prevent major part of brain getting damaged. That is
Okay.
called ischemic penumbra.
Okay.
So if the ischemic penumbra is good, like a salvageable tissue, उसको बचा सकते हैं, so that the patient will have better result.
Okay.
And different time frame is for posterior circulation, chota brain, where we can intervene up to 24 hours.
Okay.
Okay. So this is what I'm talking is a procedure. It's not a surgery. We do
Okay.
it with minimal invasion.
Okay.
We go it from the groin region. We do angiography. We see where is the clot exactly. Major vessel or minor vessel. And we remove the clot.
Okay.
So this procedure will require hardware.
Sure.
हार्डवेयर इन अ लेमैन टर्म आई कैन टर्म हम लोग प्लम्बर है, हम वहां जाके नली साफ करते हैं.
Okay.
तो उसके लिए मुझे वायर लगता है,
Okay.
catheters I require stent retriever device, I require clot retrieval device. That is expensive. So I've encountered many cases where the decision, sir इतना financial problem है, आप medical management करो. So it's not like doing a medical management. If it was possible, first line of treatment is medical management.
Fair.
But if medical management fails, we require intervention and the hardware is costly. Many patients say, sir, 6 lakh का bill, 7 lakh का bill. I said, it is because of hardware. It is not surgery. इसमें चीर-फाड़ होता नहीं है. The hardware is costly.
Okay.
And believe me, if we do it in a proper time, with a proper institute or a proper hospital, results are wonder.
Fair enough. So if it's life-saving and the hardware costs whatever it does, irrespective of other situations involved or which doctor is involved, then we have no choice. But that is that's the price tag it comes at.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Let me come to another subject: seizures, memory. When you say seizure, what is happening in the brain? Like, explain it to me like I'm 10 years old.
So I think everyone understands electric circuits now because
Okay.
electronics is all around us.
Okay.
Electricity is what keeps the world going today,
Okay.
right? So just think of your brain as a lot of electric circuits being connected with each other. And these electric circuits are supposed to function a certain way. Okay? Now imagine having a short circuit.
I'm having imagery in my head. Okay.
Yeah. So this is what a seizure is. A seizure is
Okay.
nothing but a short circuit.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, this is not just something that I have used to make it simple for the audience. The brain actually conveys these electric signals all day long. So
Okay.
there is a kind of electricity that is going through your brain, and a
Okay.
seizure is an actual short circuit.
So if it's short-circuited, from when I see a short circuit, say in my
Yeah.
house, I know at some point the fuse is repairable.
Right.
Where are we going when it comes to the brain?
No, it's repairable because
Okay.
you can give medications
Okay.
and the medications act. Okay, so what do you do? This is interesting since you mentioned your home. What
Okay.
do you do if you have a short circuit in the home?
First, I will shut off everything that is possibly related to
Correct.
that. Then
So-
I will go to the fuse box.
Huh.
See what is happening there. Turn
Right.
it on, turn it off.
Huh.
If it is a process I cannot understand, I'm calling an electrician because I'm not going to get electrocuted.
Superb. So this is exactly what you're supposed to do.
Okay.
The number one thing is, as you said, you don't touch any switches.
Okay.
Okay, so if the person is having a seizure, you first just wait.
Okay.
Second thing is you turn off the fuse box.
Yes.
So there are some rescue medications available, which is basically turning off the fuse box or
Okay.
turning off the main switch, as we
Okay.
call it.
Okay.
So they just calm the brain down
I see.
completely.
Okay.
Okay, so उसको आप main switch turn off करने के साथ सोच सकते हैं कि similar है. ठीक है? So you give those rescue medications. You wait once you've given the rescue medications. And if you feel the rescue medication has not worked, the patient is still seizing, then you get the patient to the hospital.
Fair enough. But so now, where is this medication coming from? From a GP? From shouldn't I already be coming to a hospital or at least visiting a doctor?
Yeah. So this really depends on. So जब आपकी जिंदगी में आपने पहली बार शॉर्ट सर्किट देखा था, तभी तो आप फ्यूज नहीं बंद करने गए थे.
नहीं.
You got really scared, right?
Panicking on the spot.
Absolutely. So when a patient has their first seizure, there's a lot of panic. And if a patient has had his or her first seizure, I would recommend running directly to the hospital.
Okay.
If you go to any normal, decent doctor, having had a seizure already, they will give you a rescue medication and tell you, look, listen, this is your main fuse switch off button.
Okay.
अगर ये दोबारा होता है तो सबसे पहले इसको लो and इसको लेके ही hospital आना.
Okay.
So that's how it is. But of course, if it happens for the first time, you don't have a choice. You have to run.
Okay. No, fair. I can imagine.
Yeah.
There's another subject I want to get into, aging and what happens in the brain. Like, for instance, let's take dementia. How does one diagnose dementia? What are the early signs that one looks for that one can say this is not normal aging?
Right.
This is a separate issue. What am I looking for? Early signs.
So I'll tell you the number one sign of dementia for me as a doctor is that the patient doesn't realize people around him or her do. Yeah,
Okay.
because the patient for a very long time feels, अरे मैं ठीक हूँ, मैं तो एकदम ठीक हूँ, मुझे क्या हो गया है?
Or this is just regular wear and tear.
हाँ, मतलब अभी उम्र हो गई है, उम्र के साथ साथ थोड़ा तो फर्क पड़ता है.
बिल्कुल. Okay.
But the relative will tell you, डॉक्टर साहब मम्मी ना रोज क्योंकि सास भी कभी बहुत ही देखती थी, कुछ दिनों से देखना बंद कर दिया है. तो मैंने पूछा कि मम्मी अभी बंद क्यों कर दिया आपने? अरे नहीं, पता नहीं क्या होता रहता है, कुछ समझ में तो आता नहीं है, ऐसे ही बकवास करते रहते हैं, सीरियल में नहीं देखना मुझे. अभी हुआ क्या है, सीरियल में तो वैसे भी बकवास चल रही थी पहले भी, है ना? But with due respect to the makers of क्योंकि सास भी कभी बहू थी, I think they've made a fantastic show.
Fair enough.
That's the reason that whenever anybody says the word serial, that's the first serial that anybody can think of.
But we all have opinions about popular serials.
Yeah.
So I take your
मेरे
point.
घर पे भी मम्मी, mother-in-law सब देखते हैं. So I, with due respect.
With due respect.
So what happens is that auntie was very intensely involved with the serial. And then somewhere she found it difficult to catch up with the plot.
I see.
Because, you know, with the serial, if I'm watching today's episode, I mean, now it's available on OTT and you can binge watch. But traditionally, if I'm watching today's episode, I need to remember what happened yesterday.
So are you saying brain function has slowed down in some way?
In some way, so following a story has become difficult.
I see.
Or if someone was an avid reader, suddenly they would be like, पापा अभी नॉवल नहीं पढ़ते हैं. वो कहते हैं नॉवल वॉवल नहीं जमता, अभी न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ूंगा. Because newspaper is something new. For a novel, you have to be like interested in what was happening behind you. So that is one
और
sign.
वो भी याद रखना पड़ता है.
हाँ
Chapter
जी,
1 में क्या हुआ, Chapter 2 में. Okay.
Exactly. So that's one sign, one very subtle sign. The second subtle sign would be to not take up planning and execution responsibilities. जैसे for example, in case of women in India, कोई त्योहार आ रहा है या कोई घर पे शादी है या कोई इवेंट है, सडनली यू विल फाइंड आंटी बीइंग, अभी बच्चा, अभी हम बूढ़े हो गए, अभी आप बेटियां बहुएं संभाल लो सब कुछ, which she was very excited about till about a few months ago. And then somewhere she would have very subtly realized कि ये, because that involves a lot of planning also, right?
Sure.
You have to remember how many guests are going to be coming,
Yeah.
what is the menu going to be, what is allowed, what's not allowed traditionally, you know, things like that. It's a lot of planning. So they will step away from it.
Okay.
The third thing would be to step away from banking jobs.
Oh. Oh,
where
because they involve numbers.
of course. So
Okay.
you would be coming up and it's very subtle. So suddenly you will find them not very interested. Beta ji aap dekh lo.
So this is interesting. Every example that you're using, they are not medical cues. They are
Yeah.
social cues.
And there is one more social cue.
Huh.
A personality changes.
Oh, is that right?
Yes. So
As in quieting down, or are you
could
looking
go
at a
either
violent-
way. Could go
Oh,
either way.
Okay.
Sometimes someone who's really quiet becomes boisterous,
Hmm.
starts becoming too chatty.
Hmm.
And somebody who would be very careful
Hmm.
about not letting the family matters go outside, you'll suddenly find them talking to everyone. अरे हमारे घर में तो ये हो गया, ऐसा हो गया, वैसा
I
हो
love those conversations. Oh, but that's a cue to look out
That's
for,
a cue,
especially if it's a
especially
change.
if it's a change.
Understood.
And sometimes with elder men,
Hmm.
this is very subtle, but it does happen in some forms of dementia,
Hmm.
that elder men suddenly,
Hmm.
after being very subdued for,
Hmm.
say, the last 10 or 15 years, become overtly sexually active.
I see.
Not only towards their own partner,
Hmm.
but they also start noticing other women,
Okay.
which is something that, they would not have for the last 10 years.
Understood.
Again, this is a change in personality.
Fair.
कुछ लोग अगर ये ऐसे ही है, that's fine.
Fair.
But if it's a change in personality,
I see. That's an
that's-
interesting perspective.
yeah.
Okay.
and some people become very withdrawn. So you've got someone who was the life of a party, suddenly finding it difficult to maintain conversations.
And that's what you meant by it could go either way.
Yeah, suddenly finding it difficult to maintain conversations, remembering events. So it could go either way. So a change in personality.
I see.
So they are all social cues.
Yeah, fair enough. And
Because
things to
man is
look
a
out for.
social animal.
Absolutely. And these are the early signs to look out
Yes.
for. Okay. Let me come to another perspective, Dr. Dharmik. From a diabetes point of view, foot wounds. We get a diagnosis and then we think sugar and then diet and exercise and all of that. Foot wounds. Diabetic patients sometimes think often think that it's just skin deep. But from a radiology point of view, what is happening over there?
So any wound
Hmm.
require a blood supply to heal.
Okay.
Okay. So in diabetic patients, it's a mischievous cycle.
Mhm.
First is raised blood sugar.
Hmm.
It will hamper the blood circulation because of calcification blockages.
Hmm.
Third is infection. So they
Okay.
go work, and then there is an abscess or pus formation around the wound.
Okay.
So warning signs is wound is not healing in spite of medical management.
Hmm.
Wound is becoming pale.
Hmm.
It is not reddish.
Hmm.
So if we get a wound,
Hmm.
we have immediate bleeding over there and
Yes.
the wound becomes pink.
Hmm.
So in this patient
Hmm.
of diabetic foot, 90% of the wound are because of ischemia, lack of blood supply.
Okay.
And the wound doesn't heal at the faster rate
Hmm.
in a normal population or normal person, or it doesn't heal. And
Oh.
second is discoloration. So if the wound was initially bluish or pinkish,
Hmm.
it suddenly changes the color either to black
I see.
or dark brown. That is a warning sign that the patient will require urgent interventional radiologist opinion for the same
Okay.
to prevent amputation. So most of the people who come to my OPD, सर काला हो गया तो मैंने अंगूठा कटवा लिया.
Whoa.
So I am here to prevent the wound, prevent the toe or any part of the foot from amputation, and to heal the wound process.
So what I believe what we were discussing earlier, balloon angioplasty is also applicable as a form of
Yeah.
curative surgery
Yes,
for
yes,
diabetic foot.
Yes.
How does that work?
See, diabetic foot, as I already mentioned, because of lack of blood supply or blockage of vessels. So what we do is, we do it with minimal invasion. We open up the artery by passing the wire. We inflate the balloon. Balloon doesn't stay there. It is only for making passage of the blood flow. So once the vessel opens up, we either put stent or we put drug-eluting balloon.
Okay.
So the patency of the vessel is regained and we restore the blood supply.
I see.
So any angiography is not related to heart. It is from brain to toe. So angiography is imaging of vessel.
Where
from
there is
brain
a
to toe.
vessel,
Yeah.
there is an angioplasty that is possible.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Understood.
any vessel, if we dilate it by balloon, it is called angioplasty.
Understood.
Any vessel, if we imagine by putting a dye, it is called angiography.
Fair.
So it is not pertaining to heart. It is from brain to toe.
Okay, that's something to keep in
Yeah.
mind.
So
Fair.
any patient of diabetic foot should visit an intervention radiologist to prevent amputation, or even if the limb is in such a worse condition where the counts are high,
Hmm.
patient is infected or septicemia, we can change the level of amputation.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay,
So if the doctor is advised to ampute your limb from below knee, we can change it to ankle region.
understood.
So
Okay.
anything related to diabetic foot is 90% related to lack of blood supply.
Understood. Okay, and solvable
Yes, it is salvageable
partially or fully.
fully.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. Okay, let me come to another aspect: movement disorders and living with movement disorders in everyday life. So we think of when we think of Parkinson's, we think of tremors, but there are early signs well before that sets in that one can look for as far as Parkinson's is concerned.
Yes, I would just like to take a moment
Hmm.
and elaborate about movement disorders here.
Okay,
So, movement disorders, as you rightly mentioned, can be hypo or hyperkinetic.
explain.
ओके हाइपो का मतलब क्या होता है जितना मूवमेंट करना चाहिए वो मूवमेंट नहीं हो रहा है
Okay,
मतलब कम मूवमेंट
understood.
ओके और हाइपर काइनेटिक का मतलब क्या होता है जितना मूवमेंट होना चाहिए उतना मूवमेंट नहीं होना उससे ज्यादा होना
Okay,
या उससे विपरीत होना
okay,
ओके सो आइदर यू आर मूविंग मोर while doing a movement or you're moving other than what you're supposed to move.
fair.
So these are movement disorders.
Okay,
Okay. Now, actually, medically, Parkinson's comes under the hypo category, which means that the patients with Parkinson's are not able to move as much as a normal person can.
okay,
Tremor is an aspect of Parkinson's, which is one of the hyperkinetic aspect of Parkinson's.
so it's
But-
considered hypo, but in this, as far as tremors are concerned,
They
it's
are
on
hyper.
the hyperkinetic.
And tremors occur in a lot of situations and a lot of other conditions, not just Parkinson's.
Okay,
Of course, that's beyond our scope today,
okay,
but there are many conditions that can present with tremors. So the first thing that I want to tell everyone is हाथों का कांपना हमेशा पार्किंसंस नहीं होता और पार्किंसंस हाथों के कांपने से कहीं बढ़कर है.
okay,
So ये दोनों चीजें याद रखनी है.
okay.
ठीक है. अभी coming to what else happens in Parkinson's. So what do you think? Where would Parkinson's begin?
In the brain, I would believe.
So there is a lot of evidence coming in that
Huh.
Parkinson's actually begins in the gut. Can you believe it?
Oi. So I am not familiar with this. लेकिन आजकल काफी पढ़ते हैं कि
Yeah.
the gut is your second brain.
Yeah, so the gut and the brain talk to each other a lot.
Okay.
And they have a direct mode of connection, which is called the gut-brain axis. Cool name, right?
Very cool name, but
Yeah.
hearing it from a doctor is I'm starting to worry about what should I be worried about as far as my gut is concerned.
So, you know what? One of the first really subtle signs of Parkinson's is constipation.
Okay.
And all sorts of constipation worsens all symptoms in a patient with Parkinson's.
Is that right?
So
literally one feeds on the other. It's like a vicious cycle.
Yes, it's very vicious.
Okay.
And sometimes, you know, I have patients coming in, Parkinson's patients, who have just become stiff. And moving is very difficult. And we are trying medications. And what I do is I just give them enemas. Enemas is basically passing, you know, helping you to pass motions. And once they pass out a lot of motions, they are actually better.
Oh.
So,
We're coming back to your point of
Gut
constipation
brain.
worsens the
Yeah.
symptoms. So, okay.
so one of the very early symptoms is constipation. The second early symptom is something called REM sleep behavior disorder,
Okay.
or RBD.
Okay.
Now, just a bit about sleep here, because I feel sleep is very important. So, you know, we all do not give sleep importance when we are young. And then as we get older, we realize कि भाई यही तो सोना था. सोना ही तो सोना है.
Ha. Correct.
So,
I'm at the age where my afternoon nap is becoming more and more important.
yeah. So always remember, सोना असली सोना है.
Excellent.
Okay. So you have a good night's sleep, which is about 6 to 8 hours. It consists of two components, which is REM and non-REM. अब ये REM, non-REM क्या है? इसके details are very scientific. But basically there is a part of your sleep which is very deep sleep, which is called your non-REM deeper stages. एंड एक पार्ट ऑफ योर स्लीप होता है जब आप सपने देखते हैं.
हाँ. Okay.
तो वो जो सुनहरा भाग है आपकी नींद का,
जी.
उसको रेम स्लीप कहते हैं.
Okay.
एंड व्हाई इज इट कॉल्ड रेम? बिकॉज REM stands for rapid eye movement. So your eyes are moving and you are dreaming, but you can't move. Your body is in a state of paralysis. You
Okay.
can't move.
Okay.
तो आपकी सपनों वाली महबूबा को अगर आप पकड़ना चाहते हैं तो आपका हाथ भी नहीं उठेगा.
ये हुई ना बात.
हाँ.
हाँ. Okay.
बट आप सपने देखते हैं.
Okay.
So sometimes ये जो हाथ नहीं उठता है वो नॉर्मली नहीं उठना चाहिए. But in these patients with REM behavior disorder, they yell, they shout.
Oh.
Sometimes they have very bad dreams. You know, all dreams are not nice.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have bad dreams.
Okay.
They yell, they shout, they try to grab things, they try to hit people. And you will have spouses or bed partners who will tell you this. रात में चिल्लाने लगते हैं, हाथ पैर मारने लगते हैं, कुछ समझ नहीं आता डॉक्टर चल क्या रहा है.
So this is, and literally it's not just I'm having a nightmare.
Yeah.
बुरा सपना देख रहा हूँ. Not
Sometimes
that.
it might just be a nightmare.
But it can also be an indicator for
Developing Parkinson's later on in life.
very early sign already showing up.
One more is the inability to smell or
Oh.
difficulty with recognizing smells around you.
But this is now one COVID type area.
हाँ, मतलब कोविड में भी वो एरिया ऑफ द ब्रेन अफेक्ट होता था,
हाँ.
which is the area of the brain that helps you recognize smell.
Okay.
But it also happens in Parkinson's that, you know, very subtly you lose your ability to smell.
I see.
So
Okay.
these are certain very early signs of, very, very early signs of Parkinson's. Something that comes a little bit later would be difficulty with movement, where you feel that when you take a bath and dress up and get ready in the morning, you're taking a little longer than what you would usually take.
I see. It's just that my mind is moving slower
Yeah.
and I'm not able to compute, or is it my body is not moving?
So there is a part of your brain that gets affected in Parkinson's and it's called basal ganglia.
Okay.
है ना? So that is the part that helps your body to move in a synchronized way.
Understood. Okay.
So this synchronized, you know what you do early in the morning is pretty much you're not thinking about it. You're just moving in a synchronized way.
Yes.
So that becomes a bit
Yes.
slow.
Muscle memory, I mean.
Yeah. So
Okay.
जिसको आप muscle memory बोल रहे हो, there's a part of the brain that works on it and it just becomes a bit slow.
Understood.
So that is another early sign of Parkinson's that comes much before tremors.
Understood.
And to end this, a lot of patients with Parkinson's do come with tremors, but you know what a lot of patients also come with?
Tell me.
Frozen shoulder.
Oh. And here we think that's a sports related.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I have so many patients, one arm of theirs, which is affected with Parkinson's, doesn't move as much as the other arm
Okay.
when they walk or when they sit or when they are trying to do any activity. And medically, we call it reduced arm swing.
Okay.
So, you know, when you walk, your arms go like this, inevitably, even if you're not
Automatically.
trying.
Gee,
Yeah.
huh.
And one arm swings a bit less.
I see.
Because it moves a bit less, उसके साथ वही होता है जो किसी भी इंस्ट्रूमेंट के साथ होता है. When you don't move it, it becomes stiff.
Yes.
So your shoulder isn't moving as much, so it becomes stiff.
Fair.
And then there are rounds and rounds of frozen shoulder treatments
Oh.
until somebody says, "अरे यार, ये तो Parkinson's है."
Oh. And that could take a long time to
That
diagnose.
does
isn't
take
it?
a long time. It does take a long time.
Wow. Okay. No, but early warning signs, which is why we're discussing this. What
Yeah.
should we be looking for? What should we be aware of, even if it's at the back of our minds?
So all of these, yes.
Absolutely. Thank you. Let me come to another aspect. Thyroid nodules. There are different types of thyroid nodules. How does imaging help in identify? Are we talking surgery? Are we talking medication? Are we talking let it be? We'll do something about it later. How does that work?
See, any thyroid nodule, patient presents with swelling in the neck.
Yes.
It may be painful, it may be painless. So first investigation they do it is ultrasonography of neck,
Okay.
where they detect a nodule.
Okay.
So there are two lobes of thyroid, right and left, and the connecting link is isthmus.
Okay.
So nodules are either solitary or multiple.
Okay.
Any nodule which is detected on sonography may be benign or malignant.
Yes.
Okay. So first line of investigation after ultrasonography is putting a needle and taking a sample out. That is called FNAC.
Okay.
After doing FNAC, we have gradings. That is TIRAD score, TIRADS. So TIRAD score is 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 is benign.
This is whether it is cancerous or not.
Yeah. So benign is
benign or
non-cancerous.
malignant.
It is
Okay.
110% non-cancerous.
Yes.
TIRAD 2 is benign but can be notorious.
I see.
3 is mostly malignant.
I see.
And 4th is malignant definitely.
Okay.
So what I'm talking about is both lesions, benign and malignant. Benign lesion, TIRADS 1 can be controlled or can be managed medically over a period of time. If it is TIRADS 2, it will require intervention. That is, we don't do surgery. It is minimal invasion. Either we ablate that nodule with radio frequency machine or with microwave. Okay. And if the patient has multiple nodules, that is called goiter. That is called multinodular goiter. Patient comes with a huge swelling in the neck, change in the voice, hoarseness of voice, difficulty in swallowing. That patient doesn't require surgery. That patient will not require to remove the thyroid gland. It can be cured by just putting a particle or medication and closing the vessel which is supplying the thyroid.
I see.
Yeah. So that is a new invention. So that patient doesn't require surgery. That comes in TIRADS 2, but that patient doesn't require surgery.
Understood.
It can be done with minimal invasion, single hospital stay, and patient can resume his duty or her duty on the second day.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So TIRADS 3 also can be cured by non-invasive technique like microwave and radio frequency. But obviously, definitely malignant will require surgery.
Okay.
That is removal of thyroid gland plus nodules and nodes.
So the grading and the diagnosis decides whether a surgery is involved or not, or what further treatment can be dealt.
So I've encountered many patients who has thyroid, but they are not visiting either an ENT specialist or a surgeon. They are just keeping the swelling. कुछ है नहीं मुझे तकलीफ तो मैं क्या करूं?
नहीं ये गलत बात है ना?
Yeah. Then some patients they see either on YouTube or maybe Insta के ये thyroid हो सकता है, thyroid का problem होता है. Then they visit general practitioners or an physician or a surgeon. Then they are into right, you can say hands. They will require USG neck, ultrasonography neck, and then if the nodule comes, then they require FNAC.
Fair enough. Okay.
So this is a stepwise graded manner treatment, and not every thyroid nodule will require surgery. It can be cured without surgery.
No, the FNAC and the grading after that decides what the form of treatment is. I want to come to another subject, varicose veins.
Yeah.
अभी काफी लोग मानते हैं कि ये cosmetic issue है.
Yeah.
अच्छा नहीं लगता. But inside the body, क्या हो रहा है?
See, varicose veins is basically, you can see a dilated visible vein in your leg.
जी.
Okay. तो varicose veins के भी grading रहते हैं. Okay. So many patients, like I have encountered or seen a patient who is a model. They comes for cosmetic. Sir, ये green nus दिखाई दे रही है, but इसका तकलीफ नहीं है. I cannot wear shorts. I cannot wear skirts. But the main problem is inside. So any patient with such dilated bluish veins will require ultrasonography, that is venous Doppler of the affected limb.
Okay.
Okay. So that will fetch you the exact diagnosis.
Okay.
Some patient comes to me, sir, वो green nus दिख रही है, but वो मेरा skin fair है इसके लिए होता है. That is not like that. It's a sign that you are suffering from varicose veins.
नहीं वही बात है ना, वो look and feel जो है, it doesn't look good.
Yes.
But you're not feeling anything.
Yes.
So then people think it's cosmetic and not anything else.
ये इसका कुछ तकलीफ नहीं है सर, मैं तो खाली बताना है इसका मेडिकल कुछ करो या कुछ. That is not like that. The entire process is deep inside that vein.
क्या हो रहा है?
उसके अंदर आपके जो wall है, so varicose vein is basically an incompetency of the walls of veins. Veins are the bad vessels which carry bad blood from the hand or from the leg to the heart.
Okay.
So there are two types of veins in the leg. Deep vein is deep and superficial vein जो ऊपर रहती है.
Okay.
So what superficial veins does, it carries bad blood from the skin and the subcutaneous tissue to the deep vein. And then deep vein carries that bad blood to the heart for purification. So superficial and deep vein are connected by a wall.
Okay.
So when this wall gets damaged, जैसे अगर नल का पानी खराब होता है, नल का ये खराब होता है, कॉक खराब होता है तो पानी लीक होता है, वैसे
जी।
ये वॉल खराब होता है तो दैट मीन्स इट हैज लीकेज ऑफ वेन, वीनस वॉल्स।
Ah,
उसके कारण जो खराब खून है इट डजंट गो टू हार्ट।
I see.
सो एंटायर बॉडी का जो प्रेशर है, द प्रेशर एरिया इज बिलो नी।
So the blood is not being purified, is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Okay.
So the entire bad blood, or you can say deoxygenated blood, gets accumulated below the knee because it is
I
the
see.
weight-bearing area of the body.
Okay.
And then you can see engorged veins, सांप की तरह नस दिखाई देती है.
Hmm.
Patient will have swelling,
Hmm.
itching, because the entire bad blood is not getting into circulation. You have change in the color of the skin.
Hmm.
You will have pigmentation. You will have ulcer. That is, so that depends upon the stage of the varicose
Fair.
veins also. So there are
Okay.
5 stages.
Hmm.
Stage 1 will have like reticular veins, that is spider veins, that is greenish in color. Grade 2 will have full-fledged blown veins, like it is seen in the thin patient.
Hmm.
3 will have symptoms like pain, itching, heaviness, numbness, swelling. Grade 4 will have changes in the skin, like the skin will become thick, it will become black. That is, in our term, it is called lipodermatosclerosis.
Okay.
Patient goes to a cosmetic surgeon or a dermatologist for, sir, ये skin color क्यों change हो रहा है? हम चलो lactocalamin lotion लगाते हैं, but the entire process is because of improper functioning of your veins.
Understood.
And grade 5 is ulcer.
Oh.
And some patient which I have encountered in my recent 10 years of practice, patient is in grade 1 or grade 2 varicose veins. He is wearing stockings. उसको कुछ हो नहीं रहा है, सर चल रहा है, अभी तकलीफ नहीं है, कम हो गया. Suddenly at night I got a call कि वो नस फट गई है.
नस फट गई है.
Either patient going to gym or carrying heavy weight or something like that. And then the patient will require emergency surgery.
So there are two things I want to ask you here. There are some things in varicose veins that probably make it worse.
Yes.
Too much sitting or sedentary
Yeah.
or stuff like that.
Yes.
And two, how do you solve for this as soon as you see it when you're at grade 1?
Okay.
क्या किया जाए?
So the first thing is, it is more commonly encountered where a patient is in a prolonged standing or prolonged sitting job.
Okay.
It is frequently encountered in IT professional, bus conductors, pan thela wale, everybody who has prolonged standing or sitting ka job.
Understood.
And it is a new thing also, which has recently added in books. It is hereditary.
Oh.
Yeah. So if your mother, father has varicose veins, there are more likely chance that you will also get a varicose veins.
Okay.
Okay. Then there are few risk factors like diabetes.
When you say standing, you mean standing stationary, not standing and walking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Standing stationary
Okay.
for more than, you can say, half an hour continuously throughout his life.
There are jobs like that. Absolutely. Yes.
So
Okay.
anything when you are into that kind of a job and you have pain like cramps and it worsens at night. So once you are at home, you suddenly feel यार कोई मसाज कर दे मेरे पैर का, या तो मैं पैर ऊपर रख लूं तकिए के ऊपर या कोई सपोर्ट रख दूं. तो these are all warning signs of varicose veins.
Understood.
And varicose veins can be cured medically by following some orders from the doctors, like wearing stockings continuously, doing some exercises, having regular 3 liters of water, keeping your stomach clean. So these are all precautionary measures. But once it comes in stage 2, it is a minimally invasive procedures
Okay.
which we do. It's either laser treatment, same like cataract, or a Venasil, which is a new treatment. Which is a
Understood.
glue form of a treatment where it has an advantage. Patient will not require to wear stockings because laser has disadvantage. Laser treatment, patient will require to wear stockings for at least 6 months.
Understood.
Venasil will not require because it is a form of glue treatment. So we inject glue. It's an adhesive material which sticks the wall of the vein.
Okay. So another thing along these lines, varicocele is not discussed very much.
Yeah.
What is it exactly and how are we resolving?
So varicocele basically is, you can see like varicose when we see dilated veins in the legs. So varicocele is dilated veins near the testes. It is also because of incompetency of the testicular veins wall.
Okay.
So any patient will have swelling in the scrotum, heaviness in the scrotum. It is more frequently encountered in young patients.
I see.
15 to 30 years is the most common age group.
I see.
There are no predisposing factors as such, but it is more frequently encountered in sports personality who has prolonged running, who has prolonged pressure near the scrotum area,
I see.
heavyweight lifters. That is the reason why they tell them to wear that tight underwears.
Yes.
So it is because of incompetency of the wall.
Okay.
And this will impair the fertility of the male patient. Patient will have less sperm count or no sperm count. Patient will have erection problem, impotency. So these are all potential risk of varicocele. And many patient comes to me, sir, मेरे को varicocele का surgery से इलाज नहीं करना. So I always say no to surgery. It is, we do it with procedure. It's minimal invasion, no
Okay.
surgery.
Okay.
So we inject, we put the catheter inside the vein which is damaged, and we either embolize it with a medicine, glue, or a coil. So it is
Okay.
non-invasive technique, single day procedure, and patient can resume his work on the next day.
Okay.
So it's a wonderful result.
So absolutely, it's a
Yes.
24-hour process and you're
Yes,
done.
yes.
Okay. One other question. Frequent urination. Most men seem to think that it's just a part of aging.
Yeah.
At what point do we worry about it and say this is a red flag?
See, many patients after age of 50 years of age will have frequent urination. Most of them are diabetic. So any patient, diabetic patient or non-diabetic patient, frequent urination has a term. It's, if it is hampering your sleep, okay? If you are waking up in sleep, you are not getting sleep because of frequent urination, that is a red flag. Means you are suffering from a urinary tract disorder.
Okay.
Okay. So most likely after 50 years of age, it is because of enlargement of prostate.
Okay.
So any prostate enlargement above 50 years of age is called benign prostatic enlargement unless and proved it is malignant. So this is a worrisome problem for many patients who are traveling also.
Yes.
If the patient is going on flight, train, they cannot go to frequent, they cannot visit urinals frequently. So these are all red flag signs for a benign prostatic hyperplasia to get treated. Most of the benign prostatic hyperplasia patient gets treated on medical management. They become better.
Okay.
But if they have blood in urine, or even after medical management, their frequency has not decreased to such a level, then they will require intervention.
I see.
That is either TURP, which surgeon does. They put a scope inside the urethra and they dilate the stricturous part.
I see.
So benign prostatic hyperplasia is what the prostate, which is a gland near your urethra, which is passing urine, is getting enlarged. So that is compressing your urethra. So you will not get frequent evacuation, 100% evacuation of the bladder. You will have repetitive urgency, frequency of urination, pain in lower abdomen. So these are all signs that the prostate is enlarged to a large level.
Understood.
Okay. So after medical management, if the patient is not becoming good or he is having hematuria and other warning signs, so avoiding this TURP, which is a surgery, there is a new treatment which is called benign prostatic hyperplasia for prostatic artery embolization. So we embolize.
What is that in English? It sounded very complicated.
It's a prostatic artery embolization. So it's like the artery which is supplying the prostate. We embolize it with the particles.
Okay.
So it is like जैसे हम किसी को खाना नहीं देते तो पतला हो जाता है कोई भी इंसान. वैसे they have blood vessels to fetch them food. We go to that selectively and we embolize it. We close it.
Okay.
So they will shrink.
Okay.
So once they shrink, the main part of benign prostatic is compression of urethra.
Yes.
So when it shrinks, so there is no compression, the patient will be symptom free. And it is a daycare surgery too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Procedure, sorry, to be very frank. Yeah.
Short and simple.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we get into our myths and truths section, Dr. Natasha, let me come to you. One brain health hack that we can all, so much of this starts in the mind, starts in the brain. One brain health hack that we can use to just keep it healthy, ticking, functional, and adverse event free, as it were.
Yeah, I'm going to give you two. Ek pe ek free.
Sold.
Yeah.
I like it. This one pay one free I'm loving.
Yeah, so ek pe ek free. So the number one brain health hack is to effectively stick to your routines. You know, we really underestimate the power of routine.
ये बहुत difficult है.
But ये बहुत काम करता है.
Okay.
So, you know,
Do you mean
Nowadays-
just sleep routine or the full
no,
24
full
hours?
routine.
Okay.
So, nowadays there is this great comeback of the grandmas and the grandpas, and I'm loving it.
Okay.
सब ये कहते हैं कि दादी करेक्ट कहती थी, नानी करेक्ट कहती थी,
हाँ.
and वो genuinely करेक्ट कहते थे. So, if you continue to do what you're doing in a set routine every day of your life, a lot of your brain starts following the routine in a very effective way.
Okay.
And that maintains brain health tremendously.
Okay.
Now I'm using the word maintain. So, जो भी आपका brain health है, it will stay better
Okay.
if you have a good routine and you stick to it. Now the plus one,
हाँ.
जो एक पे एक free था,
जी.
है ना? So use your non-dominant hand. हम सबका एक dominant hand है.
जी.
If you're right-handed, your right hand is your dominant hand. Abhi there is, it's a bit complicated, but I'll try and make it simple. The part of your brain, the opposite part of your brain to your hand is responsible for that hand.
Okay.
So अगर आप right-handed है, so आपका जो left half of the brain है, वो आपके right hand को supply करता है. And अगर आप left-handed है, so even in left-handed individuals, for about 80 to 90% of left-handed individuals, your left half of the brain is the dominant half.
Oh.
Of course, there are other right brain, left brain theories and other right brain, left brain differences, which you will read if you get into the topic. But one thing that is scientifically proven is that if you use your non-dominant hand, sometimes the brain can be protected better.
I see. So you use my non-dominant hand to, chalo, writing nahi, but picking up stuff, brushing of teeth.
Yeah, so
Okay.
this is the easiest.
I
What you
see.
just mentioned is the easiest.
Okay.
आप रोज सुबह उठ के रात को सोने से पहले आपके अगर आप राइट हैंडेड है तो लेफ्ट हैंड से ब्रश कर सकते हैं
Okay.
या आप आपके लेफ्ट हैंड से चाय का कप उठाने की प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं
Fair
समथिंग लाइक दैट
enough. Okay.
ओके एंड इफ यू वांट टू जस्ट नो वन मोर बिकॉज यू सेड रूटीन फॉलो करना तो बहुत ही मुश्किल है
हाँ.
तो उसको माइनस कर देते हैं
नहीं, minus नहीं करते हैं. I mean, one needs to focus on stuff like
Yeah.
that. I mean, a good routine
But-
is a good thing.
Absolutely. But at the same time, learning a new musical instrument or learning a new language
Ah.
will really help with brain health.
Okay. Now, singing doesn't come under the
Nahin.
music. It needs to
You
be
need to learn
the
an instrument.
physicality of using an
Hanji.
instrument,
Yes,
not just your
yes,
voice.
Yes.
Understood. Okay. I'm very glad for these. These are all, you put your mind to it, they're all doable.
They're all
I can
doable.
make all the complaints that I want, but they're all doable.
They're all doable.
Absolutely. There's one quick thing that we're going to do before we wrap up. About half a dozen lines. I need you to tell me whether they're myths or truths, and with a one-line answer as to why they are so. Yeah? Let me run with this. Memory loss begins at 60.
Myth.
Earlier, later?
Begins much earlier.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. What age should I start worrying?
There are phases,
Okay.
but I think you should really be worried about your memory in your mid-30s and work on it.
Wow. Okay. So
Yeah.
start dealing with memory early on so that later on in your
Yeah.
life cycle it's better.
Absolutely. So
Okay.
very easy things. We already discussed a few, but keep your B12 levels up to the mark. Keep your D3 levels up to the mark and eat good fats. And this is very important because a lot of us have started not including fats in our diet at all.
Fair.
So omega-3, omega-9, very important. You know why?
Helps brain health beyond that.
Yeah, because the nerves in
Huh.
our body are covered by a sheath, which is called myelin sheath. And what is
okay.
myelin sheath made of?
Omega
mostly
3,
fat.
omega 9?
Yeah,
Okay.
mostly fat.
Okay, interesting. Good to know.
So good fats. Your
Absolutely.
avocados, your walnuts, your good fish, all of that, very important.
Fair. Biryani is not part of this.
बिरयानी हो तो फिर इंटरवेंशनल रेडियोलॉजिस्ट का काम
हाँ,
अच्छा हो जाएगा.
मैं थोड़ा कोशिश कर रहा था. It's
Yeah.
not working
Because
clearly.
it will help somebody.
Fair enough. It will help. All seizures involve shaking.
Not really, no. No, not really. All seizures do not involve shaking.
Okay.
Shaking is something that we know is a part of your seizure disorder because people can see shaking visibly.
Yes.
Yeah, but remember, all seizures do not involve shaking, and all shaking is not seizure either.
Fair.
It's either ways.
Okay.
Sometimes a seizure is just me going,
Completely still. Okay.
that's it. That's a
Okay.
seizure.
Okay. So professional opinion one way or the other when you're in doubt.
Absolutely.
Okay. You need to be admitted for several days after any vascular procedure.
No. It's a myth.
As you discussed,
Yeah, it's a myth.
you can
It's
be
a
in and
myth.
out in 24
Yeah,
hours.
24 hours.
Okay. Parkinson's only affects movement.
Myth.
Myth?
We've
Okay.
already discussed that Parkinson's affects pretty much everything else, even in the beginning. So, not just movement. Parkinson's affects behavior. It affects your gut in forms of constipation. And it also affects memory
Yes.
after a certain time of the disease.
Understood. Biopsies can cause cancer to spread.
No, it's a myth.
Absolutely
No,
wrong.
no. It is a targeted therapy. We go to the tumor, we remove the chunks of the tissue, and we do it for sampling. So
Okay.
no, it's not like that.
Fair enough. Stroke only happens in old age.
Myth.
Okay. Anytime.
There can also be intrauterine strokes
Wow.
where the baby is inside the mama's tummy and the blood supply is cut off.
Wow.
So, stroke is just blood supply being cut off to the brain.
Understood.
And that can happen at any age.
Fair enough.
So, anybody from a baby in mama's tummy to a 90-year-old can have a stroke.
Understood. CT scans always expose you to dangerous levels of radiation.
No.
Are they
It's a myth.
exposing
So
us to
it's-
any radiation?
Yeah, it is exposing. CT scan is always about exposing radiation, but it is in a controlled manner.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Radiology is only for big hospitals and emergencies, not everyday conditions.
No. It's a myth.
Okay. If one has to test, one has to test, one has to
yes.
visit a radiologist and get the testing
Yes.
done for whatever it is.
Yes.
Fair enough. That's the list that we have. Thank you so much for doing this. Very insightful. Very,
Thank you.
Lots to learn.
Thank you
Also,
very much.
lots to keep track of. I
Yes.
fully appreciate that. At the end of the day, it's also up to the individual to
Yes.
manage what he or she can.
Yes.
Well before the doctor comes into play. But thank you very much for that guidance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If a family has only 30 minutes a day to take care of a dementia patient, what is the most cognitively benefit routine they can do?
So, usually, taking care of a dementia patient is a full time job.
Yes.
But I assume what you're trying to say is that if there is one particular family member who has 30 minutes to spend with a dementia patient, what should they do?
Fair enough.
And the answer is very simple: play a game.
Really?
Yes.
Any game or
Any
one
game.
particular?
Any game,
Okay.
as long as you can keep continuing to play the same game for a few days. But yeah, any game.
Okay. Fair enough. Great advice.
Cards is fantastic.
Hmm.
Ludo, snakes and ladders also works.
Okay.
And if the patient is in good physical health, getting them to play a physical game is also amazing.
Very good advice.
Yeah.
Brain and vascular health leave signals long before they become emergencies. Understanding those signals is half the work. Thank you to Dr. Dharmik Bhuva and Dr. Natasha Tipnis for bringing clarity to a complex subject. See you in the next episode. In the heart of Mumbai stands a name trusted by thousands. Over 1 lakh heart procedures, 200 plus years of combined experience. From diagnosis to recovery, your heart gets complete care under one roof. Because when it comes to your heart, experience isn't optional, it's everything. Zinova Shalby Hospitals. Experience you can trust, care that you deserve.